Welcome to the Fusion 360 assignment tips. In this assignment, we are creating a cup and we are going to be adding a handle to the side of this. As we've learned in previous exercises, that we need some sketch planes to sketch this handle on the side of the cup. So we want the handle coming off the side of the cup, kind of down here in this orientation. But so if we were looking at the front view, we would need a circle on here that we're going to create a profile path for. But we don't have a plane to sketch on that. So what we're going to do, first of all, is we're going to have to create a plane. So we're going to do that using our construct, and we want a tangent plane. So if we select, we don't want to select the outside. If we select the outside, we're going to have a gap in our handle. I'll explain that later. So we actually want to select the inside circle. And it's not really critical what angle you select here. As long as we have a plane to sketch on, we can select whatever we want here. We could select 90 degrees. We just need a plane to sketch on. That's going to be fine for me. So we're going to select OK. And now we're going to sketch. We've made our first revolution on the origin point, so we can use the default axis here to sketch on, which would be this axis there. So we are sketching on this plane here. Now we want to create a path. We do have this plane here, so we're going to use that as a reference. So we're going to use P for project, and we're going to select that so that we can use that when we are creating our profile. So we're going to start off by sketching a fairly rough profile, and here we can constrain that after, and we are going to create some fillets in there. So we'll create a fillet between there and there, there and there, and a radius 5 is good. So we'll accept that radius of 5, and we now want to add some other constraints in here to make sure it is fully constrained. So we're going to put a vertical dimension in here, and we'll put that at 18 millimeters. And if we're wondering what needs to be constrained still, because we have blue lines still, we don't have solid black lines, we could click on this and drag this around to see what's happening, and we know we have to constrain it vertically and horizontally. So we're going to add some additional dimensions on there. Firstly, put on a vertical dimension, and we'll put a dimension of 42 in there. And now we just need our horizontal dimension, and we could select this as well too, but we also might want to project the outside of the edge there, or we could use a center axis. We want to project or constrain this horizontally one way, so going to select from the inside plane there and that dimension there, and we'll put 22 on there. So now we have a fully constrained profile or path. Now that we have our path, we are now going to select our profile that we want on there. We can actually select this plane. We don't have to use that the construct plane through along a path, but we could, but we don't need to in this case because we know our path is right on that plane that we created. So from there, we're going to create our profile and go select create sketch and sketch on this plane. And now we're going to create our profile sketch on there. We might want to change the orientation so that we know exactly where we're sketching. And I'm going to select that center point there, and I'm going to put a dimension on there of 5 millimeters. And we can look at that view this way to see what that looks like. And we know we have a diameter of 5 on there. Just going back to our isometric view so we can see what we've got. So we have our path and we have our profile. If for some reason you do have a problem seeing through the material when you're creating your sketch, we can actually create a section through here. So we're going to go up to our inspect tool, select section analysis. And when we select that, it's going to ask us for a plane to select. So I want to cut it halfway from this point through this point, just like we're cutting it with a saw. So I'm going to select that plane. That would be the direction that the saw would be going. And when I select that plane, you can see a section cut through the cup occurs, and we can drag that anywhere we want. If that is fine, then we could go look at our view and we could sketch our circle. You may be able to see it better that way. So just going to select OK and finish our sketch. If we do want to eliminate or delete that section that we've created, we can go up to our analysis here, and if we expand this, we're going to see our section that we created in there. We can just right click and select delete. So now we want to go through, we want to add our sweep in there because we do have our profile and we do have our path. So we go up to create and we're going to select sweep. Make sure this is single path. Our profile is our round circle recreated, and now we're going to select our path. There is our sketch path that we created, and we don't want it to be a cut, so we want to make sure that this is a join, and we don't really need a new body on there, so just leave it at join, select OK, and we can turn off these sketches, and now we can see our new cup. The last addition I'm going to add to this is I'm going to add a logo to this. So you can select whatever logo of your choice. I'm going to add a Nike logo to this, and I've downloaded a Nike logo that I found on the internet, but a lot of JPEGs or images that you have will have a background on them. If you don't have Photoshop skills and you want to remove the background, there is a website that is free, and you can just drag your file into there and it will remove the background and create a .png file, which is a transparent background file. So really what you want to look for is images that do not have a very complicated background. I've done a quick search on the internet and found a Nike logo that I'm going to use. So this one here has black text, but it does have a solid white background. So that's what we actually want to remove. We want to remove that background because I don't want this white on my cup. I just want this simple black Nike logo. So I'm going to go to this website. It is called remove.bg. So, and all you have to do is drag your image file into this little box here. So I'm going to drag my image into there, and what that's going to do is going to remove the background. So you can see the white has all gone. I just have the black lettering, very quick. You can use Photoshop if you have some Photoshop skills. And then I'm just going to download that image file, and that will download a PNG. You can see down here in the bottom, my PNG file is downloaded. Now that my file is downloaded, I'm going to go up to my insert menu up here, and I'm going to select decal. And when my dialog box pops up, I'm going to select insert from my computer, and that will take me, I want to make sure I grab the PNG file, not my logo file. Select my PNG file, and you will see it's asking me for a face to place that on. So I want to place it on this face here, and give it a second. It will appear, and now I can make some modifications to that. So I can scale that, move it. These little lines here are the scale, and I can also rotate that. So I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees, and I'm going to scale this up just a bit and make some adjustments in moving this. Maybe put it in the center, scale down a bit, and that looks good to me. I can also change the controls through here, do some scaling, rotating, flipping, etc. And I am done with that, I think. So I'm going to select OK. And that is inserted there, back to my isometric view. So I have my Nike logo now added to my cup. And you can add any image file that you have, any JPEG file. But if you want to remove the backgrounds, you want to select something simple. The next thing I want to show on here is just how to get a little better image on this using some rendering techniques, just to make it look a little more realistic. I've already got my material selected. I'm satisfied. I think this is a polished bronze or something. I'm going to go up to my design menu there, and I'm going to change that to render. And a new menu is going to pop up there. and I already have one render done on here, but we can make some adjustments to there. And under our setup, we can change our material or appearance. We can do that in here, or we can change our scene settings. And in our scene settings, we have some options in here. You can just click on some of these to see what the changes will be. We can add reflections. We can change our perspective, our focal length, and these are all camera terminology. Our exposure levels, we can make some adjustments to that. But it is based on our original view that we started with. So we might want to go back and change our view and rotate that a bit so we could see that. And under here, environment library, we can select a different library, and some of these may need to be downloaded. And say, for instance, we wanted to select this snow field. I would download that and double click on there. The snow field shows up here now. And if I go back, it'll take a second. Doesn't look too snowy there. I might have to change some other settings on here. Maybe my focal length. Change my focal length a bit. And I have some other options on there. And then I'm going to, once I am done all that, I'm satisfied with my environments on here and all my settings, I'm just going to go up and select my render. So we can do an in-canvas render. It's just going to render it right here in the scene. We can expand that, change our render settings, and then we can capture that image. For this, I'm just going to select this render. And when we do select that render command, we have some options here. Customize our sizes, our pixel sizes. I'm going to go with web because it's going to be smaller, and I have some different options here. So I'll pick a 1280 by 1024, and cloud render you might want to select if you have a slow PC. Mine's not too bad, so I'm going to select local render, and this is my quality, standard, and final. I'll select final, and as soon as I select render, this will pop up. It says it's started, and we're going to wait for that to complete rendering, and you'll see additional icon pops up here and tells me that I submitted it a few seconds ago and my remaining time. Once that is done, I can click on that image. My render is now complete. I can look at this image by clicking on that image down there, and I do have the option to download that or delete that file. Just one last thing before, if you were trying to look at a different view, you can use your standard zoom commands and rotate commands that you use in Fusion. So you can grab the angle that you like, and you could do another render. That's the end of this video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and hopefully you've learned how to do some revolutions and sweeps and adding decals and some rendering.